So yeah, back with another video. Yeah, I'm currently back at Rutgers University for another semester of homework every day, and it's currently like 2:39 a.m. So yeah, you don't have a lot of free time when you're in college. But anyway, there's something I noticed something. Well, I saw something that annoyed me. Well, it didn't, I don't know if it annoyed me, just upset me. And yeah, I decided to make a video on this because I have nothing better to do at 2:39 in the morning. But here's the story. So I'm taking intermediate algebra, or not algebra, intermediate Spanish right now because it fills up a requirement. And so first day of class, I'm like, alright, whatever. And the teacher hands out this like little sheet just to answer some basic questions like your name, where you're from, where you're born, some personal questions like, oh, what's your favorite book, what do you want to do with your life. And so like I do this in like 5 minutes or something, and like there's only one question like I have to think about for like 2 seconds, like what he's asking me. So it's basically pretty easy for me. And I look around, so I'm looking there, and like it's like, okay, I'm like the first one done, and so I'm just sitting there, whatever. Cause yeah, and I look next to me, and there's this Hispanic girl, and basically, like after 10 minutes, half her page wasn't even done. It was like the questions and all blank, and like 2 questions out of like the 10 that he asked were answered, and she was just sitting there like dubious to it. And so I was like, alright, maybe, I guess like she didn't learn it at home or whatever, and maybe she didn't like learn it well enough. Maybe her high school was pretty bad, so she wasn't able to learn Spanish. So I was like, alright, whatever, at least she's taking this class now so that she learns the language. And yeah, so I'm like, okay, whatever. And it's like really bad because like she's like the last one who hands it in, and like the teacher hands it back to her like twice because she didn't answer the questions properly. And these are like simple questions like "Donde usted nació?" or something like that, and she couldn't understand what that means. And so I was like, okay, well, props to her for staying in this class and learning about it. But it's been 2 weeks since class started, and she's since dropped the class. She's not taking it anymore. And so basically, what really upset me and inspired me to make this video was that this Hispanic girl just gave up on learning a vital part of her culture. Now, like, I don't personally know this girl or anything. I know like her name, and that's it. And that she's Puerto Rican. Yeah, Puerto Rican. So like, okay, but the thing is, and this doesn't apply to her because I don't know her enough to make this claim, but there's plenty of Hispanics out there who are like this. The thing is that there's plenty of Hispanics out there who love to wave their flag around with blind patriotism, yet they can't even learn basic things like their language, alright, which should be fundamental, because first off, like, it's Spanish, it's Hispanic culture. It's like, if you don't know Spanish, that's like the whole thing pretty much. You can't be Hispanic and say you know Hispanic culture from wherever in Latin America without knowing the language. And like that, people who don't follow up with their countries, don't know what's going on in their countries, okay? I know too many Colombians who can't even name the president of Colombia, but whenever they say Viva la Paz in Colombia, they're like, yeah, yeah, screw the terrorists in Colombia. But it gets much more complicated than that. And lastly, people who come here, families who come here and don't look back. And sometimes it can't be helped because, like, as generations move on, it's harder and harder. because of language, because of culture and everything, different cultural differences and whatnot. But you can't go around saying, "Oh yeah, I have Puerto Rican pride." You can't go to Puerto Rican Day Parade, without knowing these things, because that is your culture. Like, if you don't know Spanish, what are you doing? And look, I know the language. If you're not taught the language when you're a kid, it can be pretty difficult. And but seriously, if you're determined, and you should be determined, if you wanna be so nationalistic to your country, you should be able to do it. Because seriously, look, I know it can be daunting, but once you get the hang of it, once you understand preterite, futuro, subjunctive, all this other stuff, it's a snap. Like, I'll tell you guys right now. Like, my family didn't teach me Spanish. They didn't. I learned it in high school. Alright? But I went in there, like, determined, like, yeah, I'm gonna perfect my Spanish. Alright? And now, like, I haven't perfected it, but it's gotten to the point where I'm able to dupe other Hispanics into thinking that I'm fluent. So I can have a whole conversation in Spanish, and they're like, hey, yeah. And they're like, oh, your family taught you Spanish? Like, no, I learned it in high school, and, like, they can't believe it, And I get a lot of props for that. So, look, if I can do it, okay, and seriously, the chances, the opportunities to learn Spanish are out there, okay? Especially if you're Hispanic, okay? Because first off, this girl obviously lives with Hispanic parents, so she can speak Spanish to them, okay? This girl, I know she's from, I know where she's from. So, like, and that's a very Hispanic town. So she could just go around and talk Spanish to anybody, It's probably necessary that she knows that, okay? But you can't give up that easily, okay? And that's the problem, is that Hispanic youth, they just give up on things too easily. Like, I know right now, half these kids, if their parents didn't teach them, speak to them Spanish at home, they wouldn't care. They really wouldn't care. I know plenty of Hispanics are like, whatever, It's like, okay, yeah, I'm Puerto Rican or I'm Colombian, but you don't know the language, you don't know the culture. Like, what, can you dance? I guess you could dance. That's about it. And so, it just disappointed me that she gave up that easily. Because, I mean, I don't know her character, but you give up that easily about something like that important as your culture. You're basically saying, okay, screw this, I'm gonna live an American life. And yeah, we are Americanized to a certain extent. Like hell, like I should have done this in Spanish, right? But it's like, why? You're giving up on your culture. You're becoming Americanized, but you still want to hold on to the background. And this is how Hispanics are. If you're not Hispanic, you might not necessarily understand this video, but there is something you want to hold on to. You want to be able to say, yeah. You want to be able to, like, go amongst a ton of Hispanics, be like, yeah, I'm Colombian. I've been there and stuff, But like hell, even if you've been there but you don't speak the language, it's nothing. What are you gonna do? You can't talk to people. You can't really do anything. You're like trapped. You're dependent on your relatives or whatever. So, just something that really upset me with that. And that happened a while back. I just haven't had the time to do it.